Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? We are checking in here Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. The Midweek Report is here. We are live here on YouTube, also through the Twitter X sphere or whatever you want to call it. Today, we have a couple of topics here that we're going to be going through. We have some action that is scheduled for 20 minutes from now through Pro Box TV. So we're going to be waiting for that here coming up, and also action that's going on Saturday with a rematch that will be taking place over in the UK. But we're also going to be talking about a couple of other topics here in the sport of boxing. As we're still going through a couple days after what happened over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as Oleksandr Usyk was able to have that decision win over Tyson Fury to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. And a couple of stories that coming off of that. One is, of course, with the IBF, which is kind of like expected from the IBF. They are planning to go ahead and activate that mandatory there through the IBF. Of course, Filip Hrgović has been the number one contender there in the IBF for a while. So with them activating that mandatory thing, well, we'll see what happens here. And the result was that, Tyson Fury says that he will go through a rematch with Oleksandr Usyk that is planned for later this year. It's supposed to be planned for October. Was it like October 16th or something like that? Y'all get the pretty much look for the exact date on it for the planned rematch for Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. But yeah, as we know, with the IBF being the IBF, it's not going to be for the undisputed title. I mean, this has happened before with the IBF, particularly in the heavyweight division. I've brought it up a few times here through the Boxing Source that the IBF stripped Tyson Fury days after he defeated Vladimir Klitschko. When he was the WBO at the time, the WBO mandatory for Vladimir Klitschko's titles, he was able to beat Vladimir Klitschko, and Vyacheslav Glasgow was the IBF mandatory at the time. And after Fury won, you had Vladimir Klitschko had activated a rematch clause, and days later, the IBF stripped Tyson Fury, and you ended up having Glasgow going up against Charles Martin. January that following year at the Barclays Center, where, as you saw, that Charles Martin won the IBF belt at that time. Now you have it to where Oleksandr Usyk, being the undisputed champion, the IBF strips him, and now you're eventually going to have on June 1st, you're going to have Filip Hrgović face Daniel Dubois, and that will be for eventually the vacant IBF title. But still doesn't, stop pretty much the fact that we have a clear-cut number one fighter in the heavyweight division, and that is Oleksandr Usyk. We had, an extensive discussion about the fight on the Boxing Source podcast on Sunday. If you could go back to that particular podcast where, we broke down the fight, broke down, what went wrong or what went right and everything like that. But also, after that, we had, what's been on the channel here as another topic of discussion coming off of that fight is, who is the number one pound for pound fighter in the sport? And had an extensive video on that, give you candidates for who could be number one pound for pound. And I provided my number one pound for pound fighter. You could check out that video on the channel or go on the website where I have the pound for pound top 10. The rankings for the pound for pound top 10 are on theboxingsource.net. But let's go back to this whole thing here with Tyson Fury. That he suffered the first loss of his career to Oleksandr Usyk. Is like Can I believe this rabbit, this sausage was able to beat me? So I'm gonna get it back. I'm gonna get it back. And well, looks like he's going to get it back here in October. Coming off of what has happened there, a lot of talk is been buzzing in reference to the fight. That a number of people kind of like surprised at how the result came out. Were very entertained, so to speak, from the second half of the fight, or the fight in general overall. But thing about it is that going into this fight, we thought it would be close to a 50-50 fight, because of the skill level of both fighters, but also some of the things that have happened in the past with both fighters. It's not like both of these guys are flawless. Yeah, they did have undefeated records going into the fight, but they're not absolutely flawless. I did point out going into it, how they did in their last fight, or how they fared in their last fights. Of course, with Fury having that knockdown against Francis Ngannou, and with Oleksandr Usyk having that questionable call when Daniel Dubois landed pretty much to the solar plexus of Oleksandr Usyk, and Usyk went down. But you just had these two guys be able to give the public a great fight, over the course of 12 rounds. And it was very close. It ended up being with the scorecards that the knockdown scored by Oleksandr Usyk was the difference. And, given with what I was saying on Sunday, I felt like Tyson Fury, especially early in the fight, those first few rounds, pretty much was, lollygagging and doing showboating and all that type of stuff. And that, a number of those early rounds, he just pretty much, I would say, quote unquote, forfeited. And that could have been, the main difference in this fight, not just with the knockdown, but overall, because you didn't want to give Oleksandr Usyk a good start or warm up going into this, because, he'll be able to gain confidence in that. So now it's up to, both camps to say, hey, what went wrong, what went right in that fight. And for Tyson Fury, it's going to be something, because this is going to be the first time that the first time that Tyson Fury will be able to get in there and have an immediate rematch, because we know what happened there with rematches in Tyson Fury. Well, they're supposed to have a rematch with Vladimir Klitschko. It never happened. You had the whole thing with the rematch with Deontay Wilder, but it ended up, taking some time for that rematch with Deontay Wilder to happen, the initial rematch. And then, of course, the whole little thing that went down with, Fury Wilder 3 and how that, kind of like came about. So we'll see. But at least, there, I would say a number of people will be very interested to see what happens in the rematch. I know that there's been some talk about, maybe Oleksandr Usyk should just, go ahead and ride on out, ride to the sunset, coming off of this win. Given that, he was able to become the undisputed champion at cruiserweight and become the undisputed champion at heavyweight. And that, there's really no real fight that's out there that he should, basically be interested in outside of this rematch. Like a third fight with Anthony Joshua, probably not. Some people are still saying, hey, Usyk versus Deontay Wilder. I don't know about all that. You know what I'm saying? But given that, if he is able to still, have this rematch against Tyson Fury and be able to come out with another win, then that could just say, hey, after that, that's it. I'm good. There's still, some folks that say like, these are the two guys that have basically stood out and cleared out the rest of the heavyweight division, so to speak, or they pretty much were the last two fighters standing there in the heavyweight division up to the point of Saturday. So, after that, you really could just say, hey, they're number one and number two by far, and that number 3, 4, and 5 are still like a good distance back from these two fighters. So it was something to see if either Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk will first off, go through this rematch, especially given how long it took for this fight to originally take place to begin with. Like it was like for some, if y'all remember, man, this thing was supposed to happen last year. Had the whole little back and forth, the 70-30, the rematch clause, and the whole little agreement for that and all that type of stuff. And it took until basically Saturday for it to take place. It was supposed to happen on February 17th, right? And we saw what happened with Tyson Fury then. And so now it's like at least we were able to get an undisputed heavyweight championship fight. So I mean that was good. One thing that I kind of like was getting through the airwaves. Hopefully this does take place. I don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow, sometime this week. But I have been told by your War Week Radio that he might have Sugar Hill Stewart on with him on their channel. So if that's the case, I would really be interested to see what Sugar Hill Stewart thought about the performance of Tyson Fury in that particular fight, and also how Fury kind of like prepared for this fight against Oleksandr Usyk coming into it, because there was a couple of things that were kind of like of concern when it came to Tyson Fury. We saw that he came in there, a little bit lighter for this fight against Oleksandr Usyk as he did in his previous fights, where he was above 270, pretty much like what was he, around like 275, 278 for his previous couple of fights. But for this bout against Oleksandr Usyk, he came in this bout under 270 pounds, and he was almost at 260 pounds against Oleksandr Usyk. And I thought that was kind of strange that he would do that. I thought he would just be the guy that come in as the aggressor and everything like that. So I mean, that's just one thing that we just got to see coming later on there for the rematch that would be scheduled for October. But like I said before, I mean, when it comes to rematches and Tyson Fury, it's kind of like been a little bit of a problem, so to speak. So we'll have to wait on that. But I would say that if it's gonna be as good as his first fight was, hey, we might have another classic on our hands, because this initial fight here that happened Saturday, hey, that could be a fairly strong candidate for fight of the year, at least for right now. It would be a fairly strong candidate for fight of the year. So definitely we'll look forward to seeing what happens there. With this, I know that there's some that may say that Fury might have to have a little bit of work to do here against Oleksandr Usyk, because of Usyk's ability to make adjustments during the fight, and that his movement, his footwork, that he takes advantage of like every single opening or any mistake that you may have, and that Tyson Fury would have to necessarily be on not just his A game but his A plus game against Oleksandr Usyk. But I mean, I have to wait and see what happens with that. So my thing with Tyson Fury is he's been able to do a lot against a number of the fighters that he's had faced in his career, and he had like a very, very good run, in the heavyweight division. Up to this point, he just got outpointed by Oleksandr Usyk. So shout out Cass Sports in the building, man. Salute to you. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I would like to, have that, rematch take place because I mean, right now, when it comes to the heavyweight division, you got a number of those other fighters that are tied up or have fights that are lined up, with the exception of at least right now Anthony Joshua. They don't really have a fight locked in with him quite yet. But everybody else that's within that top 5, top 10, pretty much like has a fight lined up within the next few months or so. And with a potential rematch for Fury and Usyk, I mean that could just pretty much like say, hey, maybe you could get a definitive winner in this bout. It was, like I said, it was a split decision. There were some that said that maybe that Usyk clearly won. Some may have said that Fury won, even with the knockdown that Fury won. But still, at least you had something where it was a very close fight, and that at least for me, it ended up being a better fight than maybe people expected. So with these initial reports of Tyson Fury saying that he will go ahead and invoke the rematch clause, that'll be something. But maybe he could be affected a little bit that he actually has a loss, a loss on his record. I know that some folks are saying that, hey, oh my goodness, we got a long count, in that first fight against Deontay Wilder, and that he, did something in the second fight with Deontay Wilder or whatever it is. But at least right now, we know that he definitively has a loss on his professional record. So do have that. For Oleksandr Usyk, um, it will be an opportunity to, I guess, follow up from what happened in the ninth round. He capitalized on Fury being stunned by the left hand and Fury backing up to the ropes and just pounced on him. He was able to pounce on him and, get, Mark Nelson to invoke the standing 8 count, even though Fury was fumbling and stumbling and rumbling all the way through like one side of the ring there. But yeah, Fury didn't necessarily go down, but yeah, he was definitely stunned in that particular instance. And some folks thought that maybe Mark Nelson should have stepped in and called it. I was like, nah, they shouldn't have stepped in and called it. By him, just having that standing 8 count, it just made things, more intriguing for those remaining rounds, and for me, it wasn't like Tyson. How would I say it? It wasn't like Tyson Fury was to the point where he couldn't continue. That was the thing. It wasn't to the point where Tyson Fury couldn't continue. Yeah, his legs were, looking like jelly, but he was still, at least on his upper body, at least Fury was looking like he was still trying to, roll through punches or dodge punches. I wouldn't say block, because he certainly wasn't blocking them punches from Oleksandr Usyk, because whatever guard that he had, either Oleksandr Usyk was too quick for it, or he went around the guard of Tyson Fury at that particular time. But you could see at the very least that Tyson Fury was still kind of like coherent to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout out Cash Sports. He says Usyk was patient and didn't let Fury affect his game plan. Yeah, especially in that first half of the fight, man. You seen there were like two parts there with Tyson Fury, right? One, early in the fight, you seen him, dodge a couple of, a few punches and showboat and do twitching here and there and raise his hands up and things like that, kind of like being a showman there early in the fight. But then also going into that, fourth and fifth round where he was able to be more consistent, more precise with his offense, doing a 1-1-2, two jabs, and then a right hand to the body. That was, affecting Usyk. You can see that was affecting Usyk, for a little bit, but after about round 6 and 7, Usyk just calmed down, took a deep breath, and went in there. Round 8, pretty much got back into it, particularly at the end of round 8, and then you see what happened there with round 9. So props to Usyk for not breaking his patience or getting out of sorts, and that was his key. I mean, and I said it on Sunday. Like we've seen it in his fight against Fury. We've seen it in the fight against Daniel Dubois. We've seen it twice against Anthony Joshua. He went through, at least some point of adversity at that instance, and was able to respond to it and get himself back in the fight and ultimately win those fights. So props to Usyk for that. But like I said, if they go through with this rematch, I'd like to see what happens in the rematch, man. Really would like to see what happens in the rematch. I know that there was, if y'all watched the ESPN Plus or the ESPN telecast, later that day, after the end of those fights, you had, what was it, Tim Bradley say that what is it that Tyson Fury could do as far as like adjustments to beat Usyk. Like he is very doubtful that Fury would be able to get the best of Usyk in the rematch. I don't know. I'll see, because, I just felt like, at least at that time, I felt like Tyson Fury, kind of like did things a little bit different against Usyk than I expected him to, especially from a boxing standpoint. I thought that, him kind of like fighting off of his back foot was, not necessarily a good move there on his part, but I guess that was his strategy here in that bout against Oleksandr Usyk. But like I said, come rematch time, we'll see if he makes the adjustment, like how he made the adjustment from his first fight against Deontay Wilder to the second fight against Deontay Wilder. If that's going to be a difference here against Oleksandr Usyk. But of course, those are two different styles. And if he does that against Oleksandr Usyk, maybe Usyk will have something there to kind of like counter that and make Fury look even worse. So who knows? Who knows? But I'm looking forward to it. I hope the boxing fans are looking forward to it as well. Shout out to both of those guys. I know that there was also a little bit of a story in reference to the fight and the viewership of the fight in general. Some folks saying like, hey, with these prices on how much it is to order these pay-per-views, that's why you're having a lot of people, let's say, stream it. They said, what is it, about like 20 million something that kind of like streamed it or whatever it was. So that's why you kind of like got what you got. And I'm like, hey, it is what it is at this point. If you look at like how this schedule is, man, you got what do we have already? We had the Canelo fight. You got this fight here with the Fury Usyk. You got coming up next month with Tank versus Frank Martin. Among others, man, that's coming up here in these next few months. So it's like, hey, man, we got to shell out how much money to watch these fights. So, hey, it does get up there, man. It definitely does get up there, especially when. Oh yeah, that's right. You also have what's coming up June 1st too. So That's also, like pay-per-view. So I'm like, yeah, a lot of people might not be all too happy, about shelling all that stuff or all that money, for these fights. You know what I mean? Let's see. So man, I don't know, man. I feel like it's gonna be what I'd say. In reference to the whole thing with the pay-per-views though, just real quick, yeah, they might have to, you know, line up on all that because come on, y'all don't see like y'all paying like $600, $700 a year or whatever it is, for these fights. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. Cat Sports says if Fury can fight the entire rematch the way that he started Saturday and without the player around, I give him a great chance to win. Yay. Yeah, I had to see. I think he had like something really good, out there when he was able to, do the 1-1-2. I just felt like he should have been able to come forward a little bit more and then also try to, tie up Oleksandr Usyk after he does the 1-1-2. Because with Usyk is a mover. He, tries to get in and out. Um, he tries to, be first and last. So either he's going to be first or you're going to be last. Don't let him be first and last. And I think that's the thing there with Oleksandr Usyk. You want to have him to the point where he doesn't have that ability or that opportunity to either counter you or be the last one to land a shot in exchanges. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the name there, Matt. Like, have some friends over, have beverages and food, and have a cover charge, man. Hey, man, you want to charge, like $10 a head, or what is it? Well, $5 to $10 a head. Have snacks, chips and dip, salsa, or order some wings and pizzas. I mean, that ain't, that won't be too much on you. You know what I'm saying? And you get all that, you work all that, then that works. Just have them watch parties. I've been through a couple of watch parties. Doesn't necessarily have to be at a bar or whatnot. It could be at a what is it, like, not like convention center or something like that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. You'll have a projector out there, or have a house, some in your backyard. If you got like a projector, you have some in your backyard or whatnot. And just have a few friends over, man, and that won't be that much on you. Like, you don't necessarily have to pay 600 or whatever it is per year if you don't have to. I mean, at least for me, it's write off whatnot because it's part of the business. But for those that don't have that's a way to kind of like knock down the prices a little bit. But I mean, it kind of like stems into how much these fighters are getting paid. I mean, they are demanding this much money for these fights, then that's why these things are pay-per-view. If the purses are what I'd say above 4 million or something like that, 4 million, $5 million, then that's what you're getting. You're gonna get it. They're gonna be pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, just that watch parties are the way to go. And here's the other thing too, right? Like, I mean, we're part of a boxing community, regardless of we are in the business, or reporting as media or whatever, or as boxing fans, right? Like, why not go ahead and like try to set some up, where you could do a link up. You know what I'm saying? If you could do link ups for going to the fights, you could do link ups for doing these pay-per-views or whatever it is. See if you could try to get that put together. Depending on what it will take to do that, because of course you don't want to have what I say, too many people be involved with it because hey, can't be trusting everybody around here. Just being real, can't be trusting everybody. But if you have like a group, like say for example, you have a group that y'all communicate pretty much like every day or every other day or whatever it is, and y'all in the area, y'all can go ahead and y'all can just set something up, man. Just have a watch party, get that set up, and you'll be good to go. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, I mean, if you over in like say Philadelphia or New York or maybe Chicago or something like that, and good amount of people that you be hanging out with or you be talking boxing with. I could just say, hey, we got this fight that's coming up on pay-per-view. I'll put that whole thing like Tank versus Frank that's coming up in less than a month. Y'all say, hey, we got Tank versus Frank coming up June 15th. Let's see if we could put something together where we just meet up over here at this spot. Go ahead, order pay-per-view. We'll have like drinks, snacks, and whatnot. We'll put everything to a pool, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? And it won't like seem like it's too much on you because you'll be able to watch the fights. You'll be able to kick it with your folks. It'll be a good time. You know what I'm saying? So that'll probably be the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. See, I pretty much like said it right there. So y'all could go ahead and clip that. I gave y'all the plan. Y'all go ahead and execute it. And that's how you can set up these things here as far as like doing these watch parties and pay-per-views. And the other thing here about it too is it's also another opportunity to have as they say, the quote unquote newbies in the game as far as like being boxing fans, like how you can introduce them to to boxing. That's the way to do it, because the thing about it is, or the newbies, casuals, that type of stuff, that's how you could introduce them to boxing, because you don't necessarily have to focus on the main event with it. You can see what's going on in the undercard. You could tell them about the fighters on the undercard, give them the whole backstory with those fighters on the undercard, and they'll be able to follow those fighters as well, and then be able to branch out and be more interested in more and more fighters and more fights, and that's how you're able to get people to, what I say, go out to the local cards depending on where you're at. So yeah, that's how you be able to run it. You feel me? So look, I just gave y'all the game and pretty much gave y'all the game on how you could do this thing here with the pay-per-views, because I'm telling y'all right now, I know it does seem like it's expensive a little bit, but I don't think the whole pay-per-view game is going out the window anytime soon. And I don't think them prices are going down. They only go up. They don't go down. They only go up. The only way that I see it getting quote unquote fixed is if there's something that goes on with the fight purses there for the fighters. But until that happens, yeah, you're gonna see these things here with the pay-per-view prices going on. Before I get into this whole thing here with the rematch between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall, just give you all the heads up. We do have the Pro Box TV that is jumping off right now, so they should have a couple of fights going on right now. Want to see if I could get over to or watch it real quick. But let's see here, because they should be having, let's see what's going on right now. Who they got going on right now. Oh, they got the first fight should be on round 2 right now. Just about 30 seconds left in round 2 on the Pro Box TV card. That's another one right there, right where Pro Box TV has their fights over in Plant City. Like I said, I was able to go over to Plant City a couple months ago, and be able to watch one of those fight cards over there. So I mean, if you can have it to where you could be involved in seeing some of these fights that do happen, because like I said, at least, for the past few months, you be seeing some notable fighters there on Pro Box. So, and who do you have on there as the main event? Bader Yurkimbayev and Ivan Redcash. And if you've been following boxing, you're familiar with at least with Evan Redcatch, but yeah, you're also familiar with the name of Bader Yurkimbayev. Yeah, man. People do be sleeping on Pro Box, man. They be sleeping on Pro Box, and also with Pro Box too. Now they're kind of branching out. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, Bomac over there again. Yeah, Coach Bomac's out there, man. Yeah, that was the last time that was out there, man. He had Kelvin Davis. So Coach Bomac was out there with Kelvin Davis that last time over on March 13th when they had the Pro Box card then. So yeah, man. You could definitely see some notable fighters out there on this, and what was it? The one that I went to, right? You had hold on, just real quick. Hold on, real quick. So you had Hot Rod Rodovich Kalajic versus Sullivan Barrera. That was the main event of the fight card that I went to. And you got Kalajic that's going to be facing David Morrell on August 3rd. So you could see, fighters that could potentially have some big fights later on down the line on these Pro Box cards too. But oh, you went to the one before that. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean that, those things ain't what is it? They ain't, not too far from Tampa, Orlando. You know what I'm saying? You could drive on I-4. You get off out there, on over in Plant City and whatnot. So and you'll be able to get in there. I mean, parking is a little bit of a work, but you're still able to catch some fights. Catch some good fights. And whatever it is, man, you'll be able to get out and then jump right back on I-4 and get to whatever you need to get to, whether it's going over to Tampa, going over to Orlando. So that's a good little thing there, small, intimate little venue that they have there for Pro Box. So that's good on their part. And also, they will be involved with the fight card that will have Lamont Rose Jr. That's going to be in DC on June 28th. So I'm really interested in seeing how that's going to go through. You got, of course, Lamont Rose defending his title against Firgo McCrory. You're going to have Lester Martinez versus Carlos Gongora on that card. I gotta hit up Greg Outlaw, man. He's going to be involved in that card as well on June 28th. So we're going to see if Sharpshooter is able to get on with the boxing source here on this again. So what we got, man? We in like the third round here. It's going close to the end of the third round. Of this opening fight that they got on Pro Box. So so you still got some good action out there left for that before we get to the main event. But wanted to talk about that whole thing that is going down between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. They have the rematch. It's coming up on Saturday. This is going to be pretty interesting matchup. For one, they say it's supposed to be at 140 pounds. Josh Taylor looked like he's been having some time trying to get to 140 pounds. Yes, he did have his loss to Teofimo Lopez last year, where Teofimo Lopez just purely outboxed him. And it was just something where Josh Taylor just didn't seem like he was at what I would say, quote unquote, full capacity. It almost looked like, yeah, he was drained, so to speak, there against Teofimo Lopez. But we're going into this particular bout, and of course, we've seen what happened in the first bout. That was 2 years ago, where Jack Catterall looked like he was going to get the win, but he wasn't able to. It ended up being a split decision win for Josh Taylor. I felt like Jack Catterall cooked him in that particular fight. I thought that Taylor was a little bit sloppy in that bout, and that he was getting cut up. And I think with what was going on, I thought it was a Catterall that was going to be the fighter that come out there as the winner. And I thought that at the time he would have been the new undisputed champion. This was like coming off of Josh Taylor's performance against Jose Carlos Ramirez, where he was able to win that undisputed championship at 140 pounds. But it ended up being that Josh Taylor got that decision win, and after that, pretty much like every single belt was pretty much vacated except for the WBO. So now we have this bout, and yeah, there's no titles on the line, of course, because Josh Taylor lost, and it is at super lightweight, and this is been something that Catterall has been waiting for some time. Is he going to be able to get the win here? I mean, he's there at what, 5'7", with a reach at 69. And he is the shorter fighter here, but it didn't really bother him in the first fight. And I think with Josh Taylor, it was like he couldn't really keep Catterall off of him. So I wonder what Josh Taylor is going to be doing here at this particular bout on Saturday to kind of like say, hey, you know what? Maybe I kind of slipped up a little bit in the first fight. Should be in a whole different class than Jack Catterall. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not sure. We got to see like what happens here, especially with this kind of like being still there around that super lightweight division, and Josh Taylor's there at like 33 years old. And as I mentioned before, it looked like he was having issues trying to get down to around 140 for his bout against Teofimo Lopez last year. Let's see if he has those same troubles, there. You know what I'm saying? He says, shout out to that guy here on YouTube, man. Says Catterall has been more active, so I'll go with Jack Catterall. But yeah, there's no giving him boxing. Man. Sometimes it's up in the air, man. Catterall, at least had a couple of fights last year. Had the fight against Daryl Foley and against Jorge Linares. He had a fight against Linares back in October there, and he got a unanimous decision win there. It was pretty clear. 2 scores of 8 rounds to 4, 1 score of 9 rounds to 3, on that. So, he was able to at least be a little bit more active here in 2023 in comparison to, Josh Taylor. And, Josh Taylor, it looked like, even though he had lost to Teofimo Lopez, he wasn't really that much inclined to get back in the ring there last year for another fight. This is Matt Gomez. UK has this crazy good undefeated boxer that's doing the Emmanuel Augustus type stuff. I have seen him. I mean, I've seen what's his name, man? I know you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen his highlights. I gotta see like how he approaches fights from this point forward, because I think it's more about who his opponents are, at least up to this point, in comparison to what his overall ability is. So I got to see a little bit more from him to see how he's gonna be able to fare against a number of these fighters that'll have it'll be tougher competition for him. So I'll wait to see like how he fares, man. Sorry that name escapes me right now. Is it Ben shit? What's his last name? God, dog, it's like right on me, man. I know you're talking about. It's Whitaker. I think it's Ben Whitaker. Yeah, Ben Whitaker. I think who the fighter is that you're kind of like talking about. But yeah, I like to see how he does against a number of these other fighters. He does have a fight coming up. Looks like in the light heavyweight division on June 15th against Ezra and Araneka. Yeah, Ezra Araneka. That's going to be June 15th. He is going to be fighting for a minor version of a light heavyweight title on June 15th. So, I don't know. It looks like they're matching him up pretty well. Araneka is from Nigeria, is undefeated at 12-0, but when you see his resume, you're like, yeah, I don't know, man. 12-0 with 10 KOs, though. I'll say that he's 12-0 with 10 KOs. So if Ben ain't careful, hey, he could potentially get popped up. But we'll see how he fares on June 15th there against Ezra Araneka. But yeah, that's Ben Whitaker that y'all talking about. So yeah, we'll have to see how he fares here. They got him. It looks like they got him lined up for something there in the light heavyweight division. Yeah, if he gets this win, then he's likely going to be ranked in the WBA rankings soon afterwards. It'll be by the end of June because WBA, not the end, either the end of June or July 1st is when the WBA will usually have their rankings there. They usually release their rankings at the end of each month, so that's how that will work out there for Ben Whitaker. You know what I'm saying? But that's my take on Ben Whitaker there. But the Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor rematch, that's going to be intriguing. What else you have on the card there? Shivan Clark versus Elizoro in the cruiserweight division. Patty Donovan against Louis Ritson in the welterweight division. Trying to see if there was like something else that's on slate for Saturday. Hold on, I'm trying to get who else is going on there. Christian and Billy versus Mark Heffron is going to be on ESPN Plus, and also Arsenbek Makhmadov is trying to see if he can get back in the win column against Miljan Robkanen. But in Billy versus Heffron, there of course, Billy's there undefeated in the super middleweight division. Has been fairly active there at super middleweight. He is number 1 in the WBC, number 3 in the IBF, number 3 in the WBO, and number 2 in the WBA. So he has been a highly ranked contender there in the super middleweight division and has been fairly active there at super middleweight. So he's kind of like been a pretty good fighter up to this point. He has this bout here against Mark Heffron. I'm seeing here. I thought that Heffron was included in one of these rankings, but it doesn't look like it. But my thing is for Billy, he's at least being active or staying active there, at super middleweight. Kind of like said that you want to stay as active as possible, even with what's going on around the top part of the super middleweight division. Yes, Canelo Alvarez just had his fight with Jaime Munguia. And we just had the news about the thing there with David Benavidez going up to 175 to face Oleksandr Usyk. And I did mention the thing there with David Morrell Jr. going up against Radovich Kalajic. That's also going to be at 175 pounds. So that leaves, a couple spots open there for being the next contender there at super middleweight. So Christian and Billy, being as active as he is, it's going to be a good look. But also, after this particular fight, it looks like they're planning on having Billy be matched up against Sergey Derevianchenko. Hey, maybe that could count as a eliminated bout or not, but that's the WBC, and the WBC be WBCing sometimes. So I don't know if they would kind of like count that as an eliminated bout, but we'll see. With that being said, I mean that Billy could just pretty much like be ranked there within the top 5, I guess by default or whatever you want to call it. They're in the super middleweight division, for him having that position in the WBC rankings and in the WBO and IBF rankings, so is that on that part. But that, that's also one other thing to watch out for in this week is for Christian and Billy versus Mark Heffron. That's going to be headlining the fight card on Saturday night on ESPN Plus. And I did mention the thing there with Arslanbek Makhmudov. Oh man, like he got torched up, man. He got torched up in his last fight, man. I did not really expect that to happen. I didn't expect that to happen there with him having that loss, man. That was crazy work, as Cabello was busting him up in 4 rounds. But shout out to Age Cabello, man. He's had 2 of the more impressive wins in the heavyweight division, over these past 5 or 6 months. Having a stoppage win over Makhmudov, and on Saturday being able to stop Frank Sanchez, man. 2 undefeated fighters, and he was able to stop both of those guys. So at least for me, man, he's for sure there within that top 5 or 6. You know what I'm saying? You said Makhmudov going to that top ranked heavyweight league. He kind of was in and out of the thing there with part of those top ranked fights, right? You've seen him in a couple of them fight cards, right? What was it against in the what was it, July last year? Yeah, that was a top ranked card. That was he was part of that Jared Anderson card that they had where Jared Anderson fought Charles Martin. We had the Carlos Takam card. Yeah, I don't think that was quite top ranked, but still, like he was like included in some of them joints, man. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with him against Rob Cannon, and then after that, maybe we do see Makhmudov on the top rank card against one of the heavyweights they have there for top rank. What was it? Recently had, who was it? Hold on, let me go back because it recently had something there where you had, what is their guy? Richard Torres, right? Get the stoppage win over Brandon Moore. Maybe Richard Torres could get something in there with Makhmudov, since they're pretty much around that same level or same amount of fights or whatnot. So there's that. Hold up, man. I gotta see if I can hit the rewind button, man. I missed who got the decision, man. Who is it there, man? No, I'm still like seeing if I can watch the Pro Box joints, man. Oh well, let's see. Man, yeah, I'm missing this live joint here for the Pro Box, man. So we gonna see who pretty much like got this win. Man, I don't know. It looks like, because you know how they do, man. I can't like have the audio on them joints, man, before they hit me with a strike on the YouTubes, So I can't necessarily do that. Well, they say bro won, yeah. So So yeah, Charles Harris won by unanimous decision on that. So that was the first fight. Looks like that was the first fight on the Pro Box TV card. So we see like that, man. It says the guy says yeah, Cabello isn't a joke opponent anymore. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm telling you. Like I was saying after his win, man. I'm like he has two of the more impressive wins in the heavyweight division. The only one that I'd say like that's had more impressive wins as far as like the past two were Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, had the win over Deontay Wilder and had the win over Zalea Zhang. Even though with the Zalea Zhang he got knocked down twice, but he was still able to outpoint Zalea Zhang to get that win. And even after the fight that happened between Agit Cabello and Frank Sanchez, they were like kind of like mentioning if what is it that Cabello and Parker could potentially fight, but they said they kind of like best buddies and whatnot. Speaking of Bud, I think there was like Bud over there on Plant City right there, with the camp there with Coach Bomac. But yeah, they friends. They've been like working out together and that type of stuff. So they don't know if they would really kind of like face each other. But that would be a really pivotal fight in the heavyweight division if you had Agit Cabello and Joseph Parker, face each other, man. Like I would say that Cabello, shoot, they could have Cabello at least at number two at the very least number two in the WBC right now with this win over Frank Sanchez because he was ranked number 3 before this fight and Frank Sanchez was ranked number 2 in the WBC. So these you would have Cabello at number 2. They got currently Anthony Joshua at number 1. So we'll see what happens, how the WBC works that rankings there when they do release their new rankings coming up. But yeah, I'm like, you got two guys that are right there within the top 10. I'd say that Cabello got to be, 6 or 7 right now, and Joseph Parker got to be there like 4 or 5. You're gonna have, of course, Usyk number 1, Fury number 2, Joshua number 3, and it just depends on who you'd have there at number 4. You probably have Joseph Parker at number. You could have Joseph Parker at number 4 and Zalea Zhang right now at number 5, and then have Agit Cabello at number 6. So that could be your top 6 there in the heavyweight division. And so you would have number 4 versus number 6 at heavyweight with Parker versus Cabello. That would be a very good matchup, and be a top 10 matchup, especially as I mentioned, if you're going to have a rematch with Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. Why not go ahead? Hey, they could pretty much have that fight on the card for the rematch. If you're going to have that rematch happen and it's going to be in Saudi Arabia again, then why not have Joseph Parker versus Agit Cabello as part of it? I mean, it could end up being your co-feature. I don't see why not. So they could go ahead and have that. And I know that there are some people that kind of have some words about all of these fights being in Saudi Arabia and all that type of stuff. That's a whole nother story. But for those that like to see these fights happen, like to see these fights being put together, at least you're able to have those fights take place. You know what I'm saying? So we'd like to see how that goes. But with that being said, what is it like coming close to an hour within this midweek report? Like I said, they're having these fights go down here on Pro Box TV right now, and as I had mentioned before, right? You're going to have Pro Box be involved in a fight card that's going to be at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. What is that? June 28th. There with the Lamont Rose Jr. when he has his defense of that WBA title there at 130 pounds against Fergal McCrory. So I'd like to see how that's going to go through, man. What I want to know if they're gonna actually have these fights on through YouTube. That's the thing. I haven't seen any. Let me see if I'm gonna go on that thing for ProBox TV, man. Let me see if they said that they're gonna have this joints on ProBox, man. I don't see what it is, but they should though. That would be something. If they're able to have, that be on ProBox TV, man, that would be real nice. That would be real nice, yo. That would be real. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that kind of goes. How that'll work. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Let's see what they got, man. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it here for the midweek report, man. Yeah. Yeah, Caballero Parker undercard fight to any main event. Yeah, it would be nice. Would be a nice set. But yeah, that's it here for the midweek report. We're gonna be back at it for the Boxing Source podcast Sunday night. Like I said, right now you'll be able to enjoy the rest of the fights on ProBox TV. And I did kind of go through the schedule that's happening on Saturday. Of course, you have the rematch between Josh Hedder and Jack Catterall. That's going to happen, and you also have, I think there were Christian and Billy going up against Mark Heffron. That's going to be on ESPN Plus there. So few fights for y'all to go ahead and enjoy. I know that we got a very busy summer schedule coming up, so we're gonna have a lot to talk about here through the Boxing Source. I will try to set up some more interviews that'll be posted on the YouTube channel, so you can go on the YouTube channel and enjoy that. For those that are listening through Twitter, we thank y'all for listening on Twitter. All those on YouTube, big ups for y'all to listen on YouTube. Be sure to hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. So we could continue to talk boxing. All right. So with that being said, folks, that's it for the midweek report. I'm out, y'all.